Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Good to see you. Good to see you. We got the final match before we get into the top cut. My opponent here and I are both undefeated going into this game 5. So we're both 4-0. Rocking the Zoro, so it's a Zoro mirror matchup again. This ends up being a really good match, but I do have like one turn that decides the game, and you know, it's a pretty interesting one. And at the end of the match as well, there's just a lot of interesting moments in this. But yeah, I think this turns out to be a pretty good game, so we'll see how it goes. But I just want to say thank you to everybody that showed up last night for the box opening stream. We had a blast. We had an absolute blast, and honestly, it was a phenomenal time. Super glad that we got some of the giveaways done during that stream, as well as, you know, some what do you call it? Some really fun pack openings and everything. It was just a really good time, and I'm super glad that you guys were a part of it. Thank you again. And we do play the Whitebeard Pirates to start it off. We're searching out Ezo. Next turn is going to be a nice one. We'll have Ezo and we'll have Curly to Dawn. And yeah, I'm kind of excited. Oh yeah, I forgot about this part. I asked him if he wouldn't mind if I looked at the bottom 4 again real quick, just because I forgot what cards I bottom decked. It's always really good and useful to know how many Radical Beams and 4-drop Marcos you're bottom decking at the very beginning of the match, because, you know, if you don't know, then towards the end of the game, you're not entirely sure how much of a probability you have of searching those cards out. But he's going to play down Ezo and pick up the 4-drop Marco here. And yeah, I know that... and a little Gordon and pass. Yeah, I know that, you know, Ezo and Gordon, very nice if he has the Makinos to pump it up. There's nothing really on turn 2 that I'm super nervous about him having the Gordon, you know, in hand with. So I'm totally fine with being able to KO that once we get the 5-drop Marco. But I'll just go ahead and play down Curly to Dawn. It looks like we're going to pick up, it looks like we hit actually 5 1-drop cards here. So I'm trying to decide whether I want a 2K counter with like Makino or Otama, or if I want to pick up the Buggy and try and search out some, excuse me, some event cards. But we do choose to take the 2K, and then I'll just go ahead and play Ezo as well. And this looks like a 4-drop Marco pickup for sure, but we're bottom decking another Radical Beam, so it does feel kind of bad. Have one in hand, but we bottom decked one already, and now we are, you know, throwing another one to the bottom. So it's good to know that information, but I think that I do end up forgetting exactly how many I put down to the bottom, just because, you know, you get into the state of things. And this is something that I want to work on in the future, is like using my Dawn to remind me how many that I have at the bottom, because you can just turn your Dawn upside down rather than right side up to be a little indicator and a little tip to try and, you know, have those cards a little more I don't know, maybe like just help you be a little more aware about having those cards. And I will use the Marco to take out the Gordon here. He does have Marshall D. Teach on board, but I'm not super threatened by the card. I just know that I am going to have to deal with it at some point. But this is a turn that he can play the 5-drop Marco of his own, but he chooses not to. So it looks like he is going to try and get Whitebeard's, Teach's effect. And so he'll swing 5 at life, then swing 6, and I'll counter out, and then we'll see a swing of 8 at life, and trash the Ezo, gets to draw a card. I'll take that, picking up, I think it was an Otama right there. And with 3 Dawn left, plays Curly. Smart. Search out a 1-drop, and then play said 1-drop. Yep, there it is, Buggy. Buggy's nice. So Buggy's probably just going to come down here. Yeah, find a Radical Beam or a Guard Point or something like that. And let's see. He's definitely looking over the hand, looking over the cards, trying to see what's going to work best for him. Oh, yeah. He searched 5-drop Marco, and I was like, you played Buggy? He was like, okay, my bad. And then he puts Makino, and I was like, you played Buggy, not Curly? And he was like, I'm trolling. Take the Radical Beam. Yeah, so we'll just let him get the Radical Beam, and yeah, we'll go back over to me. But the 4-drop Teach has definitely got to go this turn, because, you know, he can basically pump up Curly to Dawn and Buggy, and then just get usage out of that card again and keep cycling, you know, draw power out of his hand and his deck. But I think about the same amount of cards in hand at the moment, so I'm not super worried about it. But I do have a Gordon, so we could use Gordon's effect to bring down Teach and then just swing with like Ezo or something like that. Make it pretty inconvenient for him. That still leaves us enough to put down 4-drop if we want to. And it does look like we do that. We use Gordon on that, and we'll just swing 3 first at Teach. He does let it go. It's pretty smart, because otherwise he just would have been wasting a lot of Dawn, or a lot of resources. But we'll go 5 at life. He is at 4, so he could pretty comfortably take this. But he knows that I do have a lot of Dawn left. I could swing 7 with lead, so that's 2 cards that he would have to pump out. So the 5 might be worth countering. And it looks like he does. Yeah, he's going to counter out with Ezo, and I'm fine with that. Him countering out with a search card does make me feel okay. We'll go 6. He counters out with Jozu as well, and then does take that 4th life. And I go ahead and slap down Atmos here. I don't want to put down the blocker Marco just yet, because in the previous match, my opponent kind of scarred me using a Jet Pistol as well as like Fire Fist. So I don't want to give my opponent free Marco when I can just wait until I get down to 2 life. But I know that he is going to do a little bit of board clear here. So he goes 3 at the Ezo, and I'm kind of thinking whether I want to counter out or not, because it forces Buggy to swing into the card, and that's why I'm just kind of taking my time debating whether I want to counter it out or not. But we do just end up letting it go, and I think that I can't remember if I end up like really regretting that decision. Not that it's a big deal, but board control in Zoro vs Zoro is super crucial. And he does go 3 at the Curly to Dawn. And now I feel like this is where I should be countering out, but just so that it forces leader swing at that, and I can stay up on the life and try and get ahead next turn. So I will counter out for the Otama. And yes, so this will force the leader swing into Curly. I mean, he could go at life, but that'd be a little crazy. But you can see in hand we have a Radical Beam, Otama, as well as 9-drop and a 4-cost Marco. So now I know that he's got, I think, about like 7 Dawn left, or maybe it's 8 Dawn left. He is just going to go ahead and play the Curly, find out some of the searches, find the people he needs. He's definitely been finding all the Curlies. And I've been, I mean, I got lucky. I found 1, to be fair. I can't really complain, but was hoping I could pick up a second one. It just, it hurt bottom decking a lot of those 1-cost cards super early on. You know, a lot of 2K counters put to the bottom of the deck, as well as the Buggy Searcher. But here comes Buggy again. Bugs Bunny. Gonna find an event card this time, hopefully. Well, actually, optimally, I would love, no offense, if he didn't find an event, but, you know, it's something that, you know, gotta take it where you can. But he finds the Whitebeard Pirates, probably just going to play that again, search out, like, 4-drop Marco, 5-drop Marco, maybe a 2K counter Jozu, one of the 3. Yep, and there it is. There's that 2K counter, goes into hand, and he's got, I believe, 4 Dawn left, so he just plays the blocker and passes it over. And this is where we make at the very beginning of this video, I talked about how we had a turn that kind of decided things. I go for 6 here at the Buggy. It technically isn't this turn, it's the following turn that really decides it. I feel like it decides the fate of the game. But I go 6 at Curly, he's gonna let it go. And then I'm just gonna rest my 9 Dawn, play Newgate, and we will go up to 7. I'll just go 7 at life, and he can counter out of this, but he might just take the life here. Yeah, so going down to 2 life just to make Marco, you know, online. The blocker is now useful. I honestly do not hate the position that we're in. I just hate the choice that I make here. He swings 6 at my Marco, and I don't mind countering out of this one time. So I do counter out of it. He swings 6 yet again at, or no, swings 6 at Atmos, excuse me. I do let that go. And then I believe he swings 6 with Buggy at Marco, and we just continuously countered out with 3 cards in hand. We're getting really low and on resources, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it extremely caught me off guard here. He plays the Rush Zoro. I was not expecting that at all. And you can see me pause here for a minute and look at my cards and start to think, because now I feel like I'm in a bad position. I regret countering out. I feel like I should have just let it go. If I had saved the Otama, I could have used that on the Marco to and I just countered out with a second Radical Beam to bring Marco back. So kind of brutal, man, kind of brutal. He only has 2 cards left, but I have 1 card in hand. He does swing again at the Marco with his blocker Marco for 6. I counter out with my own blocker Marco, and he just passes turn. Yeah, I think that I basically kind of sealed my fate with that turn. The Rush Zoro really threw me off. Oh yeah, our local game store was passing around cookies for everybody, and that was super nice. So, shout out to the booster box here. I got lucky, and I do top deck a Whitebeard Pirates event card. So we're lucky enough to pick up a blocker here, but it's just a little too late. I think that we've kind of got ourselves in a weird position. We can just swing at life, get him down to 0. I could go for game as well if I really wanted to, but I just think, like, with 2 Dawn active, I was thinking, okay, I don't think there's a way that I'm going to get 3 swings through. I know for sure that he has 1 Radical Beam in hand, so it doesn't seem likely that going for game is going to be the smart play. So I kind of want to try and at least get him low enough to where my 9-drop can be, like, useful the following turn and go for game. But yeah, I do choose to go 7 at life here. I don't go for board at all. I go for 7 at life. Now, I don't mind this play having the blocker, but I do think that, it was a little gutsy here to try and go for this. But we'll go 7 at, excuse me, I pointed at the wrong Zoro. I told him that. I was like, oh, 7 at leader, not character. And yeah, I've got 7 Dawn remaining. 4 of that's going to be for the blocker. We're probably going to save 1 just in case we happen to pick up Radical Beam. He does Radical Beam out of that, and I will go 13 at life, KOing the Buggy. So he's just going to, he's just going to take that life. And, yep. We'll rest 4, play the blocker, and pass the turnover. Whoa, must have hit the table right there. But now I have literally no cards in hand. My opponent has a very open board to be able to easily take out my Newgate, take out my Marco. I'm kind of like, shooting myself in the foot. He brings down Newgate to 7 using the Gordon. I feel like that was not excessive because it saves him Dawn, but it is quite a bit of it's unfortunate to have to get rid of a Gordon in something like that when you maybe could have gotten that used on my blocker Marco and then use a 5-drop Marco to KO it. But he does play Buggy down, and he's looking over everything, just trying to decide what is the best play here for him. It looks like he has a 5-drop Marco in there. Yeah, I think maybe Buggy search into Gordon would have actually been pretty sick. But let's see, what does he end up picking up? I'm not entirely sure what he's going for here. But it looks like he's just going to pick up guard point. Yeah, a little extra defense, never hurt anybody. You like to see it. I still have 3 life, which isn't terrible. Yep, I just remind him, I'm like, hey, you just played the Buggy. Can't swing with that. We take the 5 hit, and then, he's probably going to put down like another blocker, maybe another searcher or something like that. But, oh, actually, he does have a Kingdu in hand. Kingdu might come down this turn. He's kind of slow playing it because he knows that he has, you know, a good position. I have to kind of like top deck and top life, you know, the absolute nuts in order to be able to survive the following turn if I can't KO him. But he does put down Kingdu. Honestly, little ballsy since he doesn't have, since he doesn't have like a Dawn active. But I mean, I respect it. Makes sense. You know, you go for that, and I'm just gonna have to try and go for life as much as possible. I don't really have any KO ability right now. I got 2 cards in hand, and if I'm not mistaken, I think that one of the cards is buggy. And so I have to decide whether I want to try and aggressively go for life, or if I'm going to try and do the searching route. So I think that I end up deciding to go for the searching route. Like, I could play buggy, try and find Whitebeard Pirates or something like that, search out another blocker Marco. It stalls for another turn, and yes. Okay, so we do find the buggy, and you look at that. We pick up the Whitebeard Pirates. I just have to get the correct searches off. So Whitebeard Pirates into, you know, like some form of the blocker, but we decided to go for Ezo because we couldn't find it. So hopefully Ezo will just do the thing. And yeah, unfortunately wasting some of the Dawn, but, you know, doing what we can to find what we need. And sadly, we could not find it. We pick up the 2K counter Jozu. Yeah, so Jozu doesn't really do me any good. But I think that was kind of my best option there. Try and find that blocker, and then that way I can, you know, get a few swings through, survive the next turn, and if he doesn't have another blocker, I have enough bodies on board to be able to go for game. But I just play the 5 drop down, KO in the buggy, and then we pass. I've got 1 Dawn active just in case I'm able to life into a Radical Beam, which would be pretty huge. But, you know, he's got enough to go for game here. It's just, it is a little nerve-wracking considering I am bluffing the Radical Beam. But, you know, I always leave 1 active just in case in situations like this, in case I have, you know, that possibility of getting it out of life. And he does go 6 at life. I'm trying to think about it in my head. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I should be good here. I should be good if he goes... Wait a minute. Did I not counter out of this 6 swing? Why did I take? Why didn't I counter with Jozu? What am I doing? Oh my god, I'm trolling. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just looking back at this game. Why did I not counter out? He had 3 swings. I had 2 life. I would have blocked 1. He would have had to have Rush Zoro in hand. Why did I take that? Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. I'm shooting myself in the foot right now. Actually, that wasn't even a 6 swing. That was 5. He swung 5 with Zoro. He didn't even have a Dawn underneath leader. Oh my god, I feel terrible right now. I feel absolutely terrible. Why did I not counter out? But see, this is why I go over these matches, because it's a learning lesson, and I just... Wow, I'm actually like disappointed in myself though for not having countered out of that. What? I just threw this game at the end. Oh, that's embarrassing. Oh, that's super embarrassing. So 9K, I will block with the Marco, of course, and then 11K. Yeah. What in the world did I just do? That's how you throw a game. That's how you throw a win, ladies and gentlemen. That's it right there. But, you know, we end up going into the top cut still because we came in 2nd place right here because, you know, he went undefeated going into top cut and I went 4-1. Still not bad, but look forward to the matches against Katakuri tomorrow, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, peace.